For all the latest news in North Central Washington, go to ncwlife.com or find us on Facebook. Got a news tip? Email us at news@ncwlife.com or call 888-2020. Good Tuesday evening and welcome to the NCW Life Evening News. I'm Grant Olson. Before we get to today's top news stories, let's take a quick look outside our weather window. And today, a lot like yesterday, beautiful, beautiful late spring weather. Remember, just a couple more days on Thursday, the first day of summer, and it felt like it today out there as we look down at Rock Island from our Sky-Fi tower camera and the beautiful course there. Temperatures today above our high temperature of 84 yesterday, and with a couple of days of heating, a lot of times that means thunderstorms are possible, and they will be possible for us tomorrow. We have a 30% chance of those thunderstorms. Some of those storms could produce some heavy rain, small hail, and strong gusty winds. Part of central or eastern Washington will be spared, and maybe even down towards the Tri-Cities, but we do have a decent chance for those storms, and we'll talk much more about that coming up a little bit later on. And now a few of the news stories we're following for you tonight. In a press release yesterday, the Chelan Douglas Health District says 2 additional bats have tested positive for rabies in the Wenatchee Valley, this time in Cashmere. An update tonight on the fatal hit and run crash in Manson early Sunday morning. And a one-vehicle rollover just after midnight this morning near Ellensburg has claimed the life of a 34-year-old Yakima man. But first, we begin tonight. More uncertainty today regarding the future of aluminum production at the Wenatchee Works smelter after Alcoa announced yesterday it will permanently shut down one of the 4 pot lines at the Malaga plant site. Alcoa issued a news release Monday afternoon reporting the company's decision not to restart production and instead make a $62.4 million payment to Chelan County PUD as a deferred payment on the company's power contract. PUD spokeswoman Suzanne Hartman says the PUD views Alcoa as a valued community partner with a shared history of providing economic benefits to the Wenatchee Valley.
The goal for Chelan PUD in working with Alcoa has always been to have the plant up and operating. I mean, those are 450 jobs that are important to this community, and we certainly had a contract in place that would incentivize Alcoa to be up and running and operating at Wenatchee Works. The contract with Alcoa is still in effect until 2028, whether they're operating or not.
Meanwhile, an Alcoa spokesman says the closed portions of the Wenatchee site will be evaluated for potential redevelopment, but that will not affect the status of the 3 remaining pot lines. The official tells NCW Life News that could involve a third party, but he did not specify who that is. Alcoa curtailed production at the Wenatchee Works in 2015. Well, in a press release yesterday, the Chelan Douglas Health District says 2 additional bats have tested positive for rabies in the Wenatchee Valley, this time in Cashmere. That makes 3 bats in our area that have tested positive for rabies. The last case was at the end of May when a bat was found in Wenatchee. Additionally, 1 individual is currently being treated with post-exposure prophylaxis. But Veronica Farias, Public Information Officer with the Chelan Douglas Health District, says about 2 to 3 rabid bats are found in the Wenatchee Valley each year. She also tells us what to do in case a bat is found.
So basically, the first thing is determine whether or not you did become in contact with the bat. If it's determined that you haven't, the first thing would be definitely don't touch the bat. And then the second thing would be call animal control so they could come and get the bat for you. Third thing would be to call the health district to determine whether or not it needs to be tested for rabies. And then we also have some information online on how to safely capture a bat in your home. So that would be a good place to go. Another good tip would be just to definitely make sure your pets, your dogs and cats, ferrets are vaccinated. In the past 2 to 3 years, we've had about 2 additional bats with rabies.
To avoid possible exposure to rabies, do not touch live or dead bats and make sure your home's open windows have screens. An update tonight on the fatal hit-and-run crash in Manson early Sunday morning. Chelan County Sheriff Brian Burnett reported that on June 17th, around 2:49 in the morning, an injured man was reported laying in the roadway in the 500 block of Manson Boulevard. The suspect has been identified as 21-year-old Giovanni Reyes of Manson. Reyes had initially returned to the scene prior to law enforcement arrival to check on the victim, identified now as 29-year-old Andrew Murphy of Seattle. Reyes told deputies on scene he'd been driving through the area when he found Murphy on the roadway, so he stopped to help. Reyes's vehicle did not have visible damage on the front end. It did, however, sustain damage underneath the vehicle during that collision. Parts were located on the roadway from the undercarriage of the suspect vehicle. Reyes didn't tell responders that he was the driver who struck Murphy, and he was allowed to leave the scene after speaking with deputies. Reyes was then located the next day, was interviewed, and placed under arrest. He was later booked into the Chelan County Regional Justice Center for hit and run, resulting in death. Although an arrest has been made, detectives are still investigating this incident. A one-vehicle rollover just after midnight this morning near Ellensburg just claimed the life of a 34-year-old Yakima man. Washington State Patrol says the man was northbound on Highway 82, 3 miles south of Ellensburg, when his vehicle drifted off the roadway, overcorrected, and slid across both lanes of the highway. The 2004 Trailblazer then left the road, rolled over, and slid down an embankment, coming to rest on its wheels in an irrigation canal. A passenger in the vehicle was seriously injured and was transported to Harborview Medical Center. The official cause of that fatal accident is still under investigation. Well, a Wenatchee man escaped uninjured in a two-vehicle accident earlier today near Quincy. Around 8:50 this morning, 37-year-old Jerry Anderson of Wenatchee was stopped eastbound on State Route 28, 6 miles east of Quincy in a construction zone at a flagger post when another vehicle driven by a Bothell man failed to stop and struck Anderson's car in the rear right side. The other vehicle, a Ford F-350 with trailer, then rolled and came to rest in the ditch. The Bothell man was transported to Columbia Basin Hospital with unknown injuries. The cause of the accident is still under investigation. Well, coming up next, Douglas County is moving forward with the construction of a new law and justice facility. Chelan County received some welcome news last week concerning the pending West Kashmir Bridge replacement project. A weekend thunderstorm serves notice that the summer wildfire season is here. We'll talk to Lake Wenatchee Fire and Rescue Chief Mick Lamar. And in order to make sure communities are prepared and engaged in case of a wildfire, Public Lands Commissioner Hillary Franz will host 3 town hall meetings the final week of June, one of those in Chelan. I'm Grant Olson, and you're watching the NCW Life Evening News.
J&J Snack Foods makes a lot of dough-filled products. It's really hard to attract labor in this area. We've reached out to Goodwill, and Goodwill came through to help us get that achieved. John started here at the plant a couple of months ago. We promoted him to a dough maker. He's doing well.
I'm actually doing great. I'm finally getting more notice and appreciated for my work here. I love the products we make here.
If you're struggling finding the labor that you need, reach out to Goodwill. Goodwill, there's more behind the store.
Local Myth Pizza, we believe in real food, freshly prepared with only premium ingredients. Our cheeses are imported from Italy. Our sauces, dressings, and even our sausages are made in-house, fresh daily. Featuring Northwest craft beers and 30 Chelan Valley wines and ciders. Family fun and amazing food. Eat local, drink local, and be local at Local Myth Pizza.
Come see why Sunset Magazine says you can't beat Local Myth Pizza.
Welcome back. In another news, Douglas County is moving forward with the construction of a new law and justice facility to house the Douglas County Sheriff's Office, District Court, Juvenile Probation, IT infrastructure, and future coroner. NCW Live's Steve Hare has more on this developing story.
The over 17,000 square foot facility will be located north of the Evidence Storage Building. It's directly adjacent to the Public Services Building on 19th Street in East Wenatchee. Construction is estimated to be completed by late spring of 2019, establishing a campus environment for county services. Officials believe will be convenient for citizens while establishing a more coordinated effort between departments. Douglas County's information services infrastructure will also be housed in that new law and justice facility. Now, extensive repairs are necessary in the current facility on 2nd Street, such as replacement of the roof, HVAC system, and carpeting, as well as employee safety upgrades. The anticipated cost for repairs and upgrades and remodel exceed $1 million. Meanwhile, Commissioner Dan Sutton says the county will be able to finance the project through existing revenue streams.
We were able to and I've got to make sure that we understand that previous boards of commissioners were instrumental in this as well. Set aside funds for capital improvements for a jail or jail type buildings and a few other funds that we were able to pull from. And then we're going to bond part of that money, about half of that, when we move out of the obsolete 2nd Street building into the new facility. Then we will surplus that building and use the sale of that to buy down some of the bonds as well. Ultimately, we were very pleased that we're going to be able to do this without impacting any of the taxpayers in Douglas County. And that was the goal.
Sutton says the new law and justice facility will serve to create a collaborative, cooperative, and effective campus for both the public and employees of Douglas County for the next 50 years. Steve Hare, NCW Live News.
Chelan County received some welcome news last week concerning the pending West Cashmere Bridge replacement project. The Wenatchee Valley Transportation Council voted at their meeting last Thursday to kick in some money. Chelan County Commissioner Keith Gaynor said it's getting closer to becoming a fully funded project.
Well, our shortfall has been $2 million, and here at the Transportation Council meeting there was a motion to allocate $1.6 million to the Goodwin Bridge, which would get us pretty close to full funding. The county has already put some money in. It would leave us a little bit of a shortfall yet, so it does get us to the point where it is a very attainable goal, and we're looking for any additional funding in case we do have overruns.
Okay. So in terms of the project itself, what's the timeline?
Well, we are actually working on it right now. We've done a lot of the archaeological studies. We're securing property. We're moving forward. I'm thinking in 2019, toward the end of the year, we should be able to have something, well designed. And it is designed, but I mean, as far as going out for bid, that's where I think we'd be looking at.
Last week, the county received word from the State Office of Freight Mobility that about $3 million in grant funds had been awarded to the project. The old bridge has been designated by the Department of Transportation as structurally failing. Well, a weekend thunderstorm serves notice that the summer wildfire season is here. Lake Wenatchee Fire and Rescue Chief Mick Lamar says his crews are ready to respond if needed.
We had a lightning storm move through here the other night. It takes 3 or 4 days for those fires to pop up, but fire season's upon us. And in our particular neck of the woods, one of the things that we're seeing now is outside agencies like the University of Washington, Portland State University, Washington State, even the DOD, FDA, the Forest Service, all changing their opinion on how we look at treating the forest. Our forests are unhealthy. They're dangerous. And up in Plain, we live in the middle of that danger. We have to be prepared and have great partnerships to respond to our folks.
Officials with the Central Washington Interagency Communications Center, or SWIC, report several small lightning-sparked fires from Saturday's storm activity. One of them was located on a ridgetop in Sunbird Canyon in the Chumpstick area. A crew of U.S. Forest Service firefighters got it contained. We could see more fire activity if holdover lightning strikes get reigniting when the weather heats up some more. Well, you're watching the NCW Life Evening News. Coming up next, your sports update with Dan Kuntz in for Eric Granstrom tonight and our feature story tonight. That and much more still to come on the NCW Life Evening News. Stay with us.
So Pam, how's your mom doing?
She's okay. She's struggling. She'd like to stay in her house, and it's getting harder for her to do the daily chores.
What kinds of problems is she having?
Just basic house cleaning, you know, taking care of her house, yard work, taking care of her medicine.
Mm-hmm. It does sound exhausting.
It is very exhausting, and I always worry about her.
Aging and Adult Care can assist you or your loved one to remain comfortably and safely in their own home. Contact them today to start the conversation.
Todd's a great boss. Sometimes he can be a little intense.
Adam, how about a lunchtime run?
I'd love to, Todd, but I gotta... Oh, Mr. Jones, you made it. I'm glad you could make it. You're really gonna love our lifetime warranty on all new Hondas. Let's walk and talk.
Oh, the running thing? It gets them hustling. I consider myself a great motivator.
With 15,000 square feet to explore, you'll find something special at the Antique Mall at Cashmere. For the do-it-yourselfers and those with a keen eye for making something old fresh and new again, the Antique Mall at Cashmere is the place to come find your next project. From the coin enthusiasts to avid collectors, Antique Mall at Cashmere has treasures in every corner. Come find your treasure today. Antique Mall at Cashmere's friendly staff is here to help. Stop on by today.
And now it's a sports update on the NCW Life channel.
And a good Tuesday to you, everybody. I am Dan Kuntz in the sports basement, the man cave, filling in for Eric Granstrom, who's on assignment today. Plop. I believe assignment is the name of his boat. Well, the Apple Sox took an early lead on the Kelowna Falcons last night, and they out-hit the Kelowna Falcons, as you can see, but it wasn't enough. 9-6 the final as they drop the series closer to the Falcons. Sloppy defense and pretty bad pitching out of the bullpen did him in. Mason Marenko had a great game. He's had a great year. He was 4 for 5 at the plate. He had hits in each of the first 3 at-bats, scored a couple of runs. His second inning double was the team high 4th of the season. Apple Sox entered the 4th inning with a 3-run lead. They struck first in the first inning for the second straight day. However, it wouldn't last. Neither team scored in the 5th, and then the Falcons added 2 more in the 6th, a couple of errors, a solo home run in the 7th inning, a pass ball, a balk, a few more errors. As you can see, Wenatchee committed 3 errors on the night. Apple Sox gave it a fighting chance in the 9th inning. They loaded the bases, and Connor McCord cleared them with a 3 RBI double, but that was all they would get. The loss drops the Sox to 4-7 in league play. They are in last place in the WCL North. So the Apple Sox will face the Walla Walla Sweets from Tuesday through Thursday. 3 games, Paul Thomas Senior Stadium, first pitch tonight, 7-5. Just one other game, by the way, in West Coast League play last night. Mondays are quiet days. Victoria Harbor Cats shut out the Bend Elks 6-0. Once again, Walla Walla in town for a 3-game series beginning tonight. Well, the College World Series, the Huskies, they were leading Oregon State 5-4, bases loaded, 2 out, top of the 6th inning, and then came the rains and the lightning. The game was delayed for 4 hours and 31 minutes. The Huskies ended up bringing in a relief pitcher, Alex Hardy, and then Tyler Malone walked. That tied the game, and then after that, well, the floodgates opened. The Beavers tacked on 5 more runs in the 8th, and it was kind of a carnage and a runaway. The final, as you see there, Oregon State 14, and the Washington Huskies 5. The Huskies season, although a good one, comes to an end. The Mariners, well, they begin a 10-day, 10-game road trip tonight. This is a critical road trip. They are in the Bronx to take on the New York Yankees. Marco Gonzalez will pitch for the Mariners. The Yankees will go with Domingo German. First pitch is at 4:05. Domingo German has been in the league for a couple of years, but he has never actually taken on the Seattle Mariners. The Seattle Mariners have 3 games in the Bronx. Then they move up to Boston for another series with the Red Sox, and they close out with 4 games this upcoming weekend against the Baltimore Orioles. The Idle Mariners, by the way, lost ground on the red-hot Houston Astros. The Astros have won 12 games in a row now. That ties a franchise record, and they did it in extra innings. They trailed throughout the course of the evening at Minute Maid Park in Houston against the Tampa Bay Rays. And then Alex Bregman delivered the walk-off 2-run double to cap the comeback from 4 runs down. Houston defeats the Tampa Bay Rays at Minute Maid Park in extra innings. The 12th, as a matter of fact, the final there was 5-4. So the Mariners are now 2 full games back of the Astros in the American League West. Again, Mariners are New York for 3 games tonight, tomorrow, and Thursday. They're off to Boston, and they close out the series against the Baltimore Orioles. And that's sports from the Man Cave, the Sports Basement. Grant, back to you.
Thank you, Dan. Newly appointed Chelan County Superior Court Judge Kristen Ferreira says she's adjusting to her new career on the bench. In tonight's features story, the former attorney who is hoping to be retained in the upcoming election discussed her campaign in a recent interview with NCW Life News Director Steve Hare.
Let me ask you, since now you've been in the court now on the bench for a period of time, has it transitioned well for you, working from an attorney now to the other side of the bar?
It has, yes. That first month was definitely, I'd say, trial by fire, because I had it was the criminal calendar month. We call it the presiding month, but it's the month where you have the criminal hearings on Mondays and Wednesdays. You have the domestic violence hearings on Tuesday mornings. It's a very set schedule, and you have many cases on. I think the first day I had, I think they said over 90 cases with hearings. Now they're very short hearings, but those were all criminal cases that I had to hear that day, and so it was a new experience. But I asked a lot of questions of the sitting judge, the sitting judges. Judge Small and Judge Allen were extremely helpful, and I also made sure I read as much as I possibly could, and I was prepared for each case. And so after the last few months, I think it's been 6 months now, I do feel like it's been a very good transition.
Very good. Difficult, definitely, and being in a position of power like that, I suppose, is a different sensation as well, isn't it?
It is, and I definitely feel that more on some cases. There have been a couple of points where I had to make a decision that I felt the weight and authority of being a judge, and how important this is, especially not only to the individuals involved in that particular case, but in the community overall. And I truly take that responsibility seriously. I'm a part of this community. I'm raising my children in this community. I want to make sure that we keep this community safe. And when we're talking about the criminal cases, that's what we're doing, is doing our best to keep the community safe.
You can watch the full interview with Judge Ferreira on our website at ncwlife.com. We'll be back with the recap of some of our top stories and your complete local weather forecast right after this.
Oh, hey, Nate. What you doing there?
I'm just reading a book.
A book? I didn't even know they made those anymore. Where'd you get it?
Right down the street at Ye Olde Bookshop.
Ye Olde Bookshop? I'm gonna go check it out.
If you're looking for a good book to read, or you're in the market for some beautiful handcrafted creations from local artisans, look no further than Ye Olde Bookshop, right in the heart of downtown Wenatchee.
What's your auto mocha emergency?
It's a Frappuccino mocha with whip.
The espresso shakes are my most favorite because I can get any flavor. Peanut butter chocolate Frappuccino.
Definitely the espresso shakes. My favorite is the mocha Frappitas.
A peach Red Bull.
When you call Dick's Heating and Air Conditioning, you get 35 years of experience and customer service in the Wenatchee Valley. Dick's friendly staff strongly believe in repairing before replacing and service all major brands of HVAC units. Dick's Heating and Air Conditioning is your local, independent, trained comfort specialists, proudly serving all of North Central Washington. Call 884-6444 today.
Welcome back to the NCW Life Evening News. More uncertainty tonight regarding the future of aluminum production at the Wenatchee Works smelter after Alcoa announced yesterday it will permanently shut down one of the 4 pot lines at the Malaga plant site. Alcoa issued a news release Monday afternoon reporting the company's decision not to restart production and instead make a $62.4 million payment to Chelan County PUD as a deferred payment on the company's power contract. An Alcoa spokesman says the closed portions of the Wenatchee site will be evaluated for potential redevelopment, but that will not affect the status of the 3 remaining pot lines. The official tells NCW Life News that could involve a third party, but he did not specify who that is. Alcoa curtailed production at the Wenatchee Works in 2015. It resulted in the layoff of 400 employees. The Alcoa official says the company will continue to assess the situation and is still under contract to the PUD until 2028. Switching gears now, time for a check of your North Central Washington weather forecast. Summertime is upon us, 2 days away, and boy did it feel like it today. Let's take a look outside our weather window, and still a nice one all afternoon. It's been beautiful out there with warm temperatures well into the mid-80s. This looking from our Sky-Fi tower cam at Rock Island, and you can see the beautiful Columbia River and of course the golf course down below. And it was a beautiful day with lots of sunshine and light winds out there. And as we kind of show you through or take you through the next 3 or 4 days, we do have some instability moving our way, but not until tomorrow. Taking a look at our surface loop today, it was beautiful, hardly any cloudiness out there. Most of the clouds are off to our west, also some shower activity to our east over in the panhandle of Idaho and into Montana. But as we move into tomorrow now, our cloud cover really won't be more than we saw today, but we will see more instability moving in from the east. Once again, we're going to see an east-northeast flow into north central Washington, and that will increase our chances for, yes, thunderstorms. We do have a 30% chance of it tomorrow afternoon. Some of those storms could contain heavy rain, small hail, and strong gusty winds, so be aware of that. That's around 4 to about 7 o'clock tomorrow night. And then as we move into Thursday, most of the rain and storminess will move well to our east, back into panhandle of Idaho and western Montana. Also, portions of northeast Washington could see some lingering showers, but by Friday, back to the nice weather as high pressure moves back into the Pacific Northwest. We'll see temperatures well into the 80s on Friday, and we will stay there, lower to mid 80s, as we move into the upcoming weekend. Let's take a look now at your quick lube and tune forecast. Overnight tonight, we're going to see a lot of mild overnight lows tonight. 67 degrees for a low tonight, 90 for tomorrow, but remember that 30% chance of thunderstorms in the afternoon, 60 our low, 87 on Thursday, a bit breezy as that storm system continues to move east, and then Fridays through about Monday, especially for the weekend, it looks beautiful. Sunny skies, high temperature Friday and Saturday, low 80s, mid 80s on Sunday, and then back to around 82 for your high temperature on Monday. And that's going to do it for our newscast tonight. For more on these stories and other news from around north central Washington, you can find us on Facebook or our website at ncwlife.com. And remember, if you see news happening, we'd like to hear from you. You can send us an email at news@ncwlife.com or give us a call at 888-6295. Also, keep it right here on the NCW Life channel tomorrow morning for Wake Up Wenatchee Valley with your host Dan Kuntz and News with Steve Hare. Thanks for joining us and have a great night.
This is TV. This is TV Set Free. TV everywhere from Localtel sets you free to watch what you want, where you want. Catch your favorite networks, including live TV, ready to watch on any web-connected device for no extra charge. That's TV Set Free. Enjoy the extra value Localtel delivers with TV everywhere. Visit localtel.net and sign up today.
Hello, Wenatchee Valley. Christian Shaman here with Bay Equity Home Loans.
Let us make your dream of home ownership a reality. We're here to guide you through the loan process every step of the way. Check out our convenient online application. Bay Equity Home Loans in Wenatchee, your home for loans.
Stop on by or give us a call today.
Get the fastest internet available in North Central Washington by switching to LocalTel and get speeds up to 1,000 meg. Call 888-8888 today or go online to localtel.net.